What is up with girlfriends who are apparently so unhappy they blindside you with a breakup, maybe for the first time, maybe for the third time, but they never actually go away? They follow you on social media, they show up to a pub where they know you're gonna be there. I mean, they broke up with you. Aren't they the ones who want the distance? Hello friends, my name is Maria and today I've got two emails from two different guys with two different breakup scenarios, but one main problem. Their ex-girlfriends never go away. They are always somewhere in their peripheral vision. My first email is from a gentleman I'll call Liam, who cannot understand why a girl who would break up with him on 3 separate occasions because he was the one who wanted to move the relationship forward and she claimed she wasn't interested in that. Well, she found out that he's going to a local pub and she makes sure that he sees her there. Her presence bothers him. He was upset by the breakup and now he wants to know, well, if she's going to show up where I'm at, how do I act around my ex-girlfriend? My second email is from a man I'll call Jackson, he's been trapped for a year in the classic anxious, avoidant dance where she blindsided him with the breakup, but he can't let go, and then when he tries to let go, she always kind of comes back around and stays in his eye line. Now he's got an unfortunate medical diagnosis and he wants to know, will my ex-girlfriend care that she could possibly lose me? We're going to go through the emails today, and if you would also like to voice your opinion on what you think will happen in the comments down below, then grab a bottle of nail polish and let's talk. Okay, our friend Liam writes, what should I do if a girl, after a third breakup that she has initiated, this time seemingly is the final breakup, comes with her friends to a pub where she knows that I will go there? She left me for the third time. This time was just throwing a lot of excuses at me. She answered questions in a very cold way, that it wasn't for her, that something had gone wrong, that I, meaning Liam, I have to understand that not every couple makes it. I sent her the last message on Thursday asking her what the heck was really going on. She didn't even answer. She coldly pushed me away. Then on that Saturday, she came to the pub where she knew I frequented. All right, I asked Liam, for all 3 of these breakups, who's the one initiating the breakups and who's the one initiating getting back together? I'm going to call this girl Petra. So for all 3 breakups, Petra is the one who's pulling the carpet out from underneath him every time he tries to move the relationship forward. The first time they broke up, he was writing to her, urging her to get back together, but she didn't come to him and want to get back together until he stopped writing to her, which I feel is very telling. The second time they broke up, he did have a chance to ask her what the heck was going on because she was always bragging about him to her friends. She was always telling him that no one had ever cared for her as much as he did and how he's the greatest guy. But she broke up with him as soon as he started pushing to spend more time with her and her son. Like, let's move this relationship forward. Apparently, she threw a lot of irrational accusations at him he never had a chance to respond to. She broke up with him, but a couple of days later, so it didn't take very long, she did come back to him and she was like, I'm really sorry, please, you have to forgive me. Now this third and final time they broke up, she broke up with him again after he wanted to prod the relationship forward. And I have to note that all of these breakups happen right after they've come back from taking a beautiful trip together. Liam goes on to say, we were together for 1 year. She wasn't with me for the money because apart from gifts, flowers, and normal invitations for drinks or dinner, I didn't pay for anything. We each paid for our own separate holidays together, and she often contributed to the restaurant bills. She gave me several gifts. She didn't cheat on me when it came to money, which I think what he means is she wasn't trying to cheat him out of money, and she's not breaking up with him for some other guy for money. Liam says it was a turbulent relationship. She would leave, come back, limited meetings. She did not allow the relationship to develop. So now we're going to fast forward to this last breakup where he's at the pub and she comes in. When Petra and her friends came into the pub, I wrote a message to one of her friends asking how she could be so selfish because I perceived it as bullying. She had plenty of time to leave. I was standing with my back to the entrance. She sat down with her friends, they ordered beer, and she looked at me disrespectfully. Her friend wrote back telling me that Petra felt they would be running into me there. I immediately saw that Petra and her friends had obviously talked about it before they came into the pub. She knew he'd be there. She did it with full premeditation. When I turned and looked at her, she was looking straight into my eyes as if she was expecting something from me. I have no idea what she expected. I finished my beer and left after another half an hour. I was there with a friend. I pretended to be laughing and calm, but it was really very difficult half an hour for me. Yeah, I don't blame you. I would be freaking out. What should I do? How should I behave? And why did she do it? After a breakup, an adult avoids places where they can meet their ex. Everyone knows that. She had no reason to take revenge, and yeah, that's what it felt like. She broke up when I'm the one that said I wanted our relationship to move on, because after a year I felt like we were still just dating. Now she's liking my friend's photos on Facebook. I keep seeing her reactions in my notifications, so I blocked her. I don't blame you. That throughout the entire day, having to see your ex's name like every 12 minutes or however you happen to get on Facebook, that is completely emotionally draining. So I blocked her and deleted her friends and her sister for my own mental comfort. I know it's immature of me, but I don't care. I know I'm a mature man, and I wanted a serious relationship with a mature woman like I expected her to be, and it turned out completely different. Yeah, I can imagine you're pretty disappointed by the outcome of this relationship. And you know what the trouble is? When we treat people a certain way, we do have expectations of how they will reciprocate towards us, but honestly, I have found the best way to do things is you go into dating not with lowered expectations, but kind of with no expectations. We really do not know people, and it takes a little while to get to know them. And I'm guessing this girl has had a pattern of pretty impulsive and destructive and self-sabotaging behavior. And you really see that she has impulse troubles, because every time you stop writing to her or try to accept the breakup as a mature human being, she goes like this, like, oh, the breakup was a mistake. Or like you said with the first breakup, the moment you stopped writing to her, she decided to come back. You ask, why is she doing this? Because I know to you, it kind of seems a little crazy. She broke up with me and now she can't let me go. It's because she doesn't have trust. She's probably not a woman who grew up being able to trust that relationships would last. She probably grew up without a lot of healthy relationships being modeled for her. And that's why a healthy relationship with a guy who is buying her flowers, and I'm sure you give her lots of compliments, you want the relationship to move forward, which is normal and natural and healthy. She doesn't speak that language, Liam. A relationship with you probably felt like a trip to a foreign country where she feels like this is kind of cool and I should be having fun, but I don't really speak the language, so it's scary and I better get out of here before something bad happens. I think she has a lot of fear with this relationship, and not only does she not trust the relationship and doesn't trust you two together, she obviously doesn't trust herself either. She can't trust her own decisions. I'll tell you one thing she is starting to trust though. No matter how she treats you, you're kind of always going to be there for her. But Liam, here's what I want to talk about, because you specifically asked me, how do I act around her? Because you're right, she obviously isn't interested in respecting her own boundaries. Because here's the thing, out of the two of you, okay, she set a boundary when she told you that she wanted to break up with you, and then she broke up with you. That's her setting a boundary and asking for space. So even if you're blocking her on social media, it's not technically disrespecting her. First of all, you're having respect for yourself and your own mental sanity, and that's never immature, and you're giving her exactly what she asked for. Now, I know that you guys have had this year where you've been on trips and you have this background, but the fact of the matter is, here's where you're at right now. She's not your girlfriend anymore. So when she does show up where you're at and she's glaring at you like she expects something from you, just keep in mind, she's not your girlfriend anymore, and she's not entitled to anything. One of the most important lessons I've learned in my life that has helped me have more respect for myself, not that I feel like you need self-respect. I think this is a question where genuinely this girl's not leaving you alone and you're just doing the best you can to keep your center, and I think you did a great job, by the way. But one of the most important things that I learned is there's a big difference between being kind to people and kissing their butt, especially people who have rejected you. And here's what that looks like. If you're out at a pub and she shows up and you guys happen to lock eyes, you can kind of smile and give her a nod, but you don't walk up to her, you don't ask her how she's doing, you don't tell her that she looks nice, she's not your girlfriend anymore. You don't pick up the bar tab, and if you go to leave and you notice she's walking up to the exit door behind her, go ahead and open the door for her. Tell her to have a good night, but you don't walk her to her car, you don't ask her if she had a good time. I mean, you want to talk about expectations. What does she really feel like she can expect from you as a guy who is now a completely free agent? And I have a feeling that this girl is so entitled to you that if she had come in and you'd been there with another woman, her head would have probably blown off of her shoulders emotionally, because she's impulsive, she's entitled, and she doesn't trust her own decision that she made to leave you or get back together with you. And here's what I want to say about the whole being childish thing. You know, if you told your friends that you were struggling with alcohol and being around alcohol and people that were drinking really bothered you, and you didn't trust yourself not to slip up and do something that would impact you negatively, then if your friends told you they were going to that pub and you said, hey guys, I'm really working on myself, I'm going through a thing, it's not for me, well, yeah, they'd completely understand, and no one would say that you were acting immature. But sometimes toxic people, they do the same thing to us. They really break us down. They can cause us to think negatively and have harmful, self-sabotaging behaviors. These people can start to soak up too much of our time. She came into the pub that one night and maybe a week later, you're still thinking about it. And that's time you could be using to do, anything, really. She broke up with you and now she's going on your social media and she's kind of hovering all around your social media, and you blocked her, and it doesn't sound like you regret it because you probably felt a lot better right after you did it. So we take matters into our own hands. And what drawing a boundary really looks like is, for the next couple of months, while you get centered and you get back up on your feet and move past this breakup so you can find a better relationship, you don't go into that pub for a couple of months. I know it might be your favorite, but the sacrifice is worth it. She clearly is someone who can't respect her boundaries. She's not going to respect your boundaries. She knew you'd be there. She knew it was good. She'd known you long enough to know that her presence was going to screw you up emotionally. You sent the message to her friend, and there are some people out there that are like, oh, don't send a message to her friend because then she'll know that her presence bothered you. Well, you're a human being. You didn't want the breakup. This is a woman you wanted a future with, and she ripped the carpet out from underneath you for the third time. So let's not all pretend that sending that girl's friend a message that her presence bothered you is some big surprise. She knows how you feel. She obviously is only interested in her own agenda. She is not someone who cares how her actions affect your feelings. I don't know her, but this could be the kind of woman who kind of seems like she's sort of always upping the ante. She throws you over and then she's orbiting you online. Now she's showing up where you're at. Every time you pull away, she comes back at you. And so another really important and not childish reason for you to maybe stay out of that pub for the next couple months is just wait until she brings another guy in, not because she likes him, but just to get your goat. I don't necessarily think that your mental and emotional well-being deserves to take that kind of a hit, and it's going to emotionally set you back in the process of getting past this breakup. So just keep that in mind, because some people do stuff like that. And in this kind of an instance where she's really gone rogue and you can't trust her behavior, I don't see anything inappropriate about blocking her or even discontinuing going to that pub for just a couple of months. But if you are out, because I have a feeling this girl, like you said, the moment you stop writing her, she comes back to you. If she can't find you at that pub, she might manipulate something to find you out somewhere else. And if that's the case, you handle it exactly how you handled it. You be kind, you be respectful. If she comes up to you and says hi, say hi back, and then make an excuse to be like, hey, it was great seeing you. Me and my friends are going to continue on with our night. There's no reason to treat other people like dirt, but you don't have to kiss their butt either. We all go through breakups differently, and never apologize for doing what you need to do in order to move forward and better yourself. Treat her like a human being. Do not treat her like a girlfriend. Thank you so much for your question, Liam, and I hope that can bring you at least a little bit of peace. Okay, our next email is from a gentleman who I'm going to call Jackson, whose dismissive avoidant ex-girlfriend blindsided him with a breakup after 3.5 years of dating. They've been broken up for a year, and they cannot get past this anxious avoidant dynamic. Neither one of them is able to move forward. So let's see what Jackson has to say. Hey, my name is Jackson. My ex is a dismissive avoidant, and we were together for almost 4 years, and we planned a future together. I spoiled her a lot. I made things easy for her in many ways, and when she voiced her wants and her needs, I delivered, and she never had to repeat herself. She broke up with me last year in August, and I did chase afterwards. It was a very toxic breakup with her devaluing me and so much more. I did no contact for 45 days, but during that time, I did notice a fake account viewing my Instagram stories. Also, during that no contact, she had her birthday, and I did not wish her a happy birthday. Well, can I just say, good for you, because for a lot of us, that is one of the hardest things to do, birthdays and holidays, so I commend you for that one. But after 45 days, I reached out, and we met up a week later. Well, I bet you were pretty happy for that. She noticed a lot of the changes I made and was happy to see me. Yeah, I could see that. You know, you guys were together for a long time. She probably did seem happy to see you. We met up a few times that month, but it was always me doing the chasing and bombarding her with messages. She did love bomb me in the beginning of our relationship, and that's why I was expecting more from her since we had been together almost 4 years. We met up again in December though, and she said she was not ready to get back together, and she doesn't know when she will be. A month after that, in January, I saw an Instagram story where she announced she was single and ready to date. Oh, I blew up, but now I know she was using that post as a breadcrumb. So basically, you gave her the exact reaction she was looking for. We got into a big argument and she blocked me on everything. But 1 month later, she unblocked me on everything. Months went by and I was so focused on why she didn't write me back. So basically they had an argument and you said something to her during the argument and she never responded to you. She just blocked you, and now you're completely focused on why, you know, even after she's unblocked you, she's just never responded. But I cracked in June and I reached out to her. She told me she wanted to move on. She said she only unblocked me because it was petty to keep me blocked. She rejected meeting me for weeks, and during that time she blocked me on iMessage because I was messaging her every few days. We did talk on the phone and she asked if I ever cheated, which she's asked me a lot of times, and the answer has always been no. I highly doubt you are cheating on this woman. I mean, I just don't really see that. It sounds like a complete deflection. You know, she got scared, she got cornered by something, felt uncomfortable, or cornered by something you said, and she was just throwing that back at you to, like, you know, look at this, look at this, look at this, don't look at this. We finally met up after she requested it, but I was the one talking 99% of the time and she didn't speak very much. We were out for 4 hours, but she looked like she didn't want to be there, and I was confused as to why she didn't leave. Maybe she was there because she expected an ego boost. So during that meeting, I told her to just block me, and there was no need to open the lines of communication. Well, okay, Jackson, I just want to tell you real quick, that's your anxiety. You're very hypersensitive to all of her, you know, her body language. And I mean, I don't mean hypersensitive like you are seeing something that's not there. I mean, this does sound like a dynamic where it's like, it's a lot of push and pull. So she's showing up and then acts like she doesn't want to be there. So I'm not saying that you're not seeing things properly, but your anxiety is shooting yourself in the foot, and you're just being like, well, fine, just block me then, just fire me then. Why don't we just break up? And that's what our anxiety will have us do in relationships a lot of times. So I guess she did exactly what you asked. She blocked me after the meeting, and how funny, 2 days after, the fake account started watching my Instagram stories again. So I made my page private as I was tired of the games. I don't blame you. I never gave up on her or us, but I can't do it no more. Even though her response was dry, she still responded. I love her and I saw potential, but I am finally walking away. I do hope she reaches out, but I don't think that will happen after a year of toxicity due to not only her avoidant behavior, but my anxious side as well. I never disrespected her throughout, and I will never stoop to that level like her. So you feel as though you were respecting her, but you were not getting respect in return. I found out I possibly have cancer, and that's the reason I wrote the last message to her, was to get it off of my chest. And here's what I'll say about that. I am sorry about what you're going through with that. I hope that it's moving swiftly along and the diagnosis isn't something that you can't handle. I feel on one hand, when you got that diagnosis, there was an anxious side of you that wanted to write her that final message, although you were hoping, I'm sure, to get a response from her. But I also kind of think it's normal, with people that we love. When something good happens to us, we want to tell them about it. And when something bad happens to us, we want to tell them about it. And even though you guys are broken up, you're still kind of enmeshed in this dynamic and talking to each other and meeting up with each other. So it's like she's your ex-girlfriend, but she's still in your life and you still have feelings for her. So yeah, she's the person that you want to tell when something significant happens to you. One of the things I'm not going to read because it's personal, you sent me a screenshot of text that you sent her, and you are talking about unconditional love and how rare it is in this life. I mean, you obviously have a very romantic heart and you are looking for a love. And you know what? I'll bet that's why you were so enamored with her when you first got together. You said it yourself. She love bombed you. It felt great. This is what you want. Well, I told her about my illness and she started asking questions and did ask to keep her updated. She told me she puts up a front like she doesn't care, but she really does. It's been a while since we had a light convo and it was funny as well. I try not to be negative about my situation. We also said in the past that we could never be friends, so I don't know if my illness woke her up to feeling that she could lose me. Now she's cold. It feels like she doesn't care at all. Someone I was planning a future with for years who was feeding dreams to me just to drop me like that. It's hard to accept. Maria, what do you think will happen? Well, Jackson, what I think will happen is this is going to continue on exactly the same unless something in this dynamic changes. And because we cannot control other people, the person who's going to have to get a handle on things is you. If you're correct and she's a true avoidant and you're a true anxious preoccupied, this could go on indefinitely. And as your doctor has pointed out to you, we don't have the luxury of being immortal. I totally understand where you are. It is one of the hardest things to accept, us, not just because we love somebody, but you have invested your time and your energy into this relationship. I mean, it's the law of sunken costs. The more you've put into something, the harder it is to walk away from it. We want to fix it. We don't want to have to start all over again. It is one of the hardest things to accept. And because you clearly have an issue with anxiety, I don't want you to think in black and white terms right now about, I'm never going to see her again and I'm never going to talk to her again, because honestly, I think that'll just trigger you into more self-sabotaging behavior. So the only thing right now I'm asking you to accept is this woman will never come back to you if you continue to act like this. She will not respect you. She will never, you want to know if this cancer diagnosis is, has the potential for her to get jerked back into reality of losing you. There is no reality of losing you. You've never left. And it's going to sound harsh, but honestly, I feel like if you keep going at this rate, she'll never know what it feels like to lose you. She wouldn't know unless you actually died. There is nothing indicating to her from your behavior that you won't be there right back by her side the moment she decides at her leisure to come back into your life, if she ever does. But I'm not judging you. I have been there, I get it, which is why I'm going to be incredibly realistic with my suggestions to you, because I feel like you could take one of two strategies. Now, the first strategy is you go completely cold turkey. You block this girl on everything, you never send her another message, and you decide it's in your best interest to deal with this cancer diagnosis yourself, because in a way, you kind of already are. I mean, think of the answer she sent back to you. It was kind of like that coworker email. It's that coworker energy that avoidants give us. She was with you for 4 years, and it's like, keep me apprised, exclamation point. That's not good enough. It's not the love that you were expecting from how she acted in the beginning of the relationship, and it's not what you want. The second strategy, I believe, is more realistic for you, because you obviously have a very tough time with your preoccupation, and you have already expressed that you would like her to contact you again. And you know, that's understandable too. I notice some people out there, it's like, well, she's already broken up with you, she's not committing to you, why on earth are you sticking around? Because this is how you get human beings hooked. Let me give you the recipe. Jackson, have you ever heard of something called a trauma bond? And some people think a trauma bond is when two people go through the same trauma together and they are bonded, and that's how some people define it. However, you could also define a trauma bond. It's positive and negative, intermittent reinforcement. You get into an argument and she blocks you, and then she gives you the cookie of agreeing to come out to see you, but then, oh no, I'm not ready for a relationship, and now I'm gonna unblock you, and now I'm gonna put up this fake post about how I'm single and ready to mingle, but no, oh, I didn't really mean that. I mean, you never know. Every time you pull that lever, are you gonna get something good, or are you gonna get a big fat goose egg? And this is how you get humans and animals addicted to anything you want. She's got a hook in your brain, and she is using a scientific formula to keep you addicted to her. I'm not saying she's doing it on purpose. I'm just saying that's the formula. Plus, you mentioned reaching out to her after 45 days of no contact, and I'm not sure if I put it here, but you had also mentioned that you had wanted to show her a lot of the changes that you had made, and that tells me that you have been following the advice from X-Back videos. If you have not seen my no contact is a scam video, I'll go ahead and post the link for you down in the description below. And I want you to know those X-Back companies don't win if you win. They also use a formula to try to get you addicted and keep you addicted to your ex. So you keep asking them for advice, you keep paying them for advice, you lose, they make money, they're trying to keep you addicted. And the one thing I want to say, when you showed up and you wanted to show her the changes that you had made, and you said that, yeah, she was giving you that positive reinforcement, she was noticing the changes that you made, there's one change that you never gave her the opportunity to see. And that change is becoming the kind of man who doesn't let a woman devalue him, disrespect him, dump him out of nowhere, and then continues to send her these messages that are basically groveling and begging her to love you. Jackson, I have sent these messages, and I have to be honest with you, they do seem very romantic at the time, and I know you have a romantic heart, but someday, if you keep going, you're going to look back, and it's not going to make you feel good anymore. Especially because I also read in the screenshot of the text that she's not even reading the entire dialogue that you send to her. Now, I'll tell you what else I saw. Natalie's profile picture, and I'm not gonna lie, she is hot. Even her real name, I'm using a pseudonym, even her real name is sexy. Everything about her looks beautiful. Well, Jackson, welcome to the other half, where we know attraction is not just about looks. We also have to take care of the inner half, because one thing I really worry about, it's a theme that keeps popping up in my mind with this woman. Yeah, she's beautiful, but it's the word fake. It doesn't sound like she's busy loving you the way that you want to be loved. It sounds like she's busy creating fake Instagram accounts. It sounds like when you pull away, she's really busy making fake posts that are specifically meant to get a rise out of you. She's putting up a fake front, right? She says she does care about you, but she has a hard time showing it, which either that's fake or the love bombing was fake, because she knows how to send you a text message. She knows how to initiate dates. You said in the beginning, she's pouring on this affection and this love for you. She's giving you the relationship that you want. She's feeding you all of these dreams. I'm sure you're not the only one messaging her. So she knows how to do those things. So either the love bombing was fake, or her excuse telling you, oh, I can't do these things, is fake. It can't be both. She didn't even show up genuinely to those meetings with you. She knows how you feel about her, and she still agreed to come out with you and then gave you a big snotty attitude and told you she wasn't ready for a relationship. I mean, what the heck, honestly, what did she think that you wanted? She knows you do not agree with the breakup. She knew that you wanted a relationship. She's not dumb. Sometimes, though, I think she acts a little fake. You told me that if you even made a list of all the things for me, of what you have done for her, I would be shocked. And I wouldn't be surprised if you'd given her a damn kidney. Because, Jackson, that's what we do, right? We give a piece of ourselves and a piece of ourselves, and we just continue to give to this bottomless pit until there's nothing left of us. And that's how we get wrapped up in these situations where then we can't let the other person go. What would you have if you didn't have her to think about and focus on? You said that, after you guys had that fight, even after she unblocked you, you were so focused on why she didn't respond to you. I would challenge you to really think about, there is something that you need from this girl, but it's nothing that she can give you. It was something that you needed before you ever met her. And I can tell from your screenshot text messages that not only do you have drama with her and you're always trying to prove that you're worthy to her, sounds like you're also always trying to prove your worth to her family. You know what, Jackson? I think you, unfortunately, have been trying to prove your worth your whole life before Natalie ever came around. And one of the things I want you to do, I want you to make a list of all the things you've done for this girl. Make a list of all the things you're willing to do for her, and really see the value that you bring to a relationship. And then make a list of all the stuff she's done for you, and I want you to see how unbalanced it is. I mean, it sounds like you're ready to marry this girl, guns blazing, and she doesn't even know if she's ready for a relationship with you or when she ever will be. It's completely off kilter. You are fighting for something. I don't think that it's this woman, and I don't believe you will get anything from her that you need. So here's how we're going to battle this. You battle this addiction to messaging her by replacing it with something positive. When you feel all this anxiety sort of rise up inside of you, and try to recognize how you feel when you just know that you're going to break and you're going to send this woman a message. I want you to message or call anyone else who you know will 100% be happy to hear from you. And I'll tell you why. Because the other side of this, we want to handle the anxiety. We also want to, I think it's really important that you start to feel in your body the relief of what love feels like. And that way, if this woman really has become a toxic addiction for you, and let's say you have a relapse, and you do, it gets the better of you, you message her, you call her, you're going to see how that feels. And after you've started to have very positive experiences calling other people who are genuinely happy to have you in their life, you're going to remember what it feels like to talk to somebody who's fake or only half in, or who love bombed you with no intentions of following through. And it's going to jolt you back into the reality of, oh, right, this doesn't feel good, and maybe I won't do that again. You made a mistake. That's okay. You're human. Put it behind you and just keep going with the strategy. Anytime that anxiety bottles up inside of you, call and text people who you know you will get a positive response. And Jackson, if you don't feel like there's anyone in your life that you can call or text who will be happy to hear from you, that's what you're missing. That's the reason you can't let this girl go. That's the reason it is so important to you that no matter how crappy this feels, by golly, you're gonna make it work. You know, I get the allure of the hot, mean girl, but Jackson, there's a difference between a girl who is hot and just mean and a girl who's hot and mean and actually loves you. And here's what the difference looks like. The hot girl who's just mean, you better toe the line and never say anything that she doesn't want to deal with, or she's going to block you for 3 weeks and you can go jump off a cliff. But here's what it looks like when a hot, mean girl genuinely loves you. And I don't want to get into a whole gender debate here, but throughout history, women have been considered naturally more nurturing of the two genders, and we are very nurturing, but we are also tough as nails and we get it done. And yeah, we can be mean and stubborn, but what that looks like when we love you is, hey Jackson, when's your next doctor's appointment? Because I want to talk to your doctor. Hey Jackson, show me the paperwork so that we can make sure that your prescriptions are correct. Hey Jackson, it says here on your doctor's nutritional plan, you're not allowed to eat cheese. Why are you eating cheese? Give me the cheese, Jackson. And that is what it looks like when a girl maybe has a little bit of a mean streak, but she cares about you. She's not telling you to just go ahead and keep her updated and then blowing cold on you. And yeah, that's not what love looks like, Jackson. And this is sort of this might be kind of out there, but sometimes this is what happens to people that have dismissive avoidant patterns. And they have this depression and they have their sadness and they adopt it as a part of who they are. And she will use your death as an excuse to emotionally beat the crap out of the next guy that she has a long-term relationship with. And then 5 years from now, he's gonna be writing to me, Dear Maria, my girlfriend doesn't treat me very well. I know she's had a tumultuous history. She had an ex-boyfriend that died. And he's gonna be asking me why it's okay for her to treat him the same way that she's treating you because you died. And yeah, maybe that's a little out there, but this is how the cycle just keeps going. Yeah, okay, I get it. Natalie's a 10. Who cares? I challenge you to find a relationship where you never have to convince the other person that life is short and that love is important. They will already know, and they are happy to spend their life with you. You won't have to announce to them that you have cancer. They'll already know because they're picking up the phone when they think about you at work. They're wondering how your day was. They're asking you, how are you doing, Jackson? Your happiness and your health and your well-being is going to be important to her. Trust me, that woman's beauty will far outweigh anything Natalie could ever pretend to promise you. This is the love that you want, so anything less is unacceptable. You are worthy, Jackson. You don't need to fight for it anymore. Make that list. Show yourself physically. Everything you have to offer in a relationship, everything that's positive about you, and know you will get through this. I think in the case of both of these emails, these women might not be very good at boundaries, but it doesn't mean that you aren't allowed your boundaries. Regardless of how they act, don't let their behavior diminish you. Don't be afraid to put up boundaries with people who have told you with a breakup that they want space from you. You're only respecting their request. It's not immature. It sounds like you guys both have a great deal of value and a lot that you can offer women. So let's start finding some women who show some actual gratitude. My name is Maria Adriana. You did not have to live my life, but I certainly hope you can learn something from it. As always, thank you for visiting. The Other Half